are you? Alyssa here from Southern Maryland Vegan Events, and we're gonna do another video today on the quick and easy lunch series. So this will be video number 2, and like last time, I'm gonna do 2 quick dishes that you can do for lunch or dinner or snack, and show you again how quick and simple and versatile vegan eating and food truly is. So let's get right to it. I'm gonna double check and make sure that is recording, and it is. I have a new timer, so I'm not always sure if it's working because of operator error. So okay, so for the first dish that we're gonna do today, it's going to be a vegan take on the BLT. So instead of the B, we are going to replace with a T, and that is tempeh. So tempeh is actually fermented soybeans, and if you saw the first video that's on gut health and immune boosters, I talk a lot about probiotic rich foods and how great they are for the gut, keeping the gut flowing, and this is one of them. Tempeh is one of them. So it's super good for you. I'm gonna cut this open and get it started because I'm gonna throw it on the skillet, and then I'll talk to you a little bit more about it. So the brand I'm using is Light Life, and it already has like a barbecue sauce marinating in it. So I'm just gonna cut that open. I just have skillet on there already that's preheating. So the great thing, so it smells also smoky as well. So the great thing about tempeh, and this is already cut into strips, so it's even easier, but is it has a very meaty texture if you haven't had it before. So it represents or replicates your meat, animal-based meat very well, and if you're looking for that type of substitute. So I'm gonna throw a few strips of these into the skillet. I'm not even, I didn't put any oil down or anything. We're just gonna lightly sear these, so to speak, for a couple minutes, and that is it. So it's super simple. So while those are frying up, go ahead and take your bread and pop that in the toaster. I like to use Dave's Killer bread, and this is found everywhere. This is just my personal favorite. It's an organic bread, and they have a totally, a bunch of different flavors and varieties and all that good stuff. So this is just, for the sake of this dish, is just a traditional white bread, like your traditional sandwiches would go. And then I'm going to just cut up my tomato slices, just like that. And tempeh is just, you can use it for all kinds of different dishes as well. I love it because it truly is so versatile. I like to buy a lot of packages of these and actually keep them in the freezer. They work really well frozen, so you can just keep them for as long as you want, pull them out whenever you need to make something. You can throw them on top of baked salads. You can make other types of sandwiches and wraps and all that good stuff. There are different versions. Tofurkey makes a really, really good one as well, and this is their flavor is a smoky maple bacon flavor. So again, you have a variety of ones to choose from, and these are found everywhere. So let's see, these are, flip those over real quick. Let me grab a fork. Flip those over. They don't take long, just a couple minutes. Actually, in the time that I've been talking, they're already done. So it's all good. The bread takes longer to cook than the actual tempeh does. So once that is done, I'm actually going to turn that off. I'm sorry, I have my back to you guys. I'm going to pop up this bread because it doesn't need to be too toasted. It's all good. It doesn't matter. You do whatever you want. So throw some vegan mayonnaise on 1/2 of it if you want to. You don't have to. And like I said before, there are so many different kinds of vegan mayonnaise brands available at this point everywhere. So there's certainly no issue with finding them. I mentioned before too, Hellmann's makes their own vegan mayonnaise. So when Hellmann's is doing it, you know that everyone is demanding it for sure. So then you are going to take your tempeh strips as much as you want. And, you know, I'm not doing this the most graceful way right now, but for the sake of trying to do this quickly for you guys, rushing through it. So there you go. Throw some tomato on there. There's your bread. Cut that in half, and if you want to, you could always throw some mixed green lettuce on there as well if you want to. And there you go. It's done. It's so simple. It's so good, and it's so flavorful. It's healthy. There's some dill pickles on there too, and that is just an easy, what's the word I'm looking for? An easy filling, just tasty lunch that anybody can enjoy and appreciate and love. So give it a shot. You could also add more barbecue sauce in the skillet if you want to as well, if you want it to have even more of a smoky flavor, barbecue sauce flavor. So you really, I love cooking with tempeh because you can marinate it in so many different types of balsamic vinegars, other spices and herbs and things like that, and it really sucks in that flavor and makes everything taste really, really great. So play around with it because there's so many different things you can do, and you don't have to get the smoky flavor. They have the plain as well, so you can do literally whatever you want. So that's number one. Super easy, like I promised. So the second one we're gonna do is a cold pasta dish. And so I already pre-cooked my pasta for you guys to let it sit and chill. But I'm just doing a bow tie pasta. You can use whatever you want. And this is already cooked and chilling. So I like to cook it to al dente so it's not mushy. It doesn't get a chance to get mushy. So it has a little bit of that firmness still in the pasta. So then we're going to make our dressing. And so I don't really measure a lot of the time. I kind of just throw everything together and it works because you don't have to be perfect about everything, but I will I'll probably do a little measuring for the video. So I'm going to do, I already drizzled a little bit of oil on the pasta to keep it from sticking while I was getting everything else ready and talking to you guys. So I'm not going to do the full amount, but about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And if you're trying to cut out oil, that's fine. You don't have to use it. You can use just everything else. Just add a little bit extra of everything else if you want to. Add more lemon juice. I keep talking about how much of a staple fresh lemon juice is to have, and it truly is, because you can do it anything and everything. I like to do about a tablespoon of lemon juice in there too. And then about 2 tablespoons or so of the white wine vinegar. And you can do more or less, whatever. I like to kind of make extra of this dressing as well because I'm going to have it set in the fridge, and then as the pasta starts to absorb the dressings and everything, if you want to add a little bit more to moisten it up a little bit, you can do that too. And so I always like to make a little bit more. And then I'm going to do about 1 teaspoon of a Dijon mustard. This is another staple that I use a lot, so this is something definitely to have on hand as well as your white wine vinegar. And then that is it. You could throw a little bit of salt and pepper in here now if you want to, and then add more as well. It doesn't matter. So whisk that together. It's really light. It looks like it doesn't make a lot, but a little bit goes a long way. And again, you can always make more. You do that all the time. Okay, so that's all whisked together. In the meantime, I'm going to add a bunch of spinach, some fresh spinach in here. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to pre-cook it or have it wilt down at all. It will naturally do that as this sets, because what I like to do with a dish like this too is actually make this a day prior to when you actually want to start eating it. So then it lets all of those flavors marinate together, and it really tastes even better the second, third day, actually. And then I add a can of drained and rinsed chickpeas for a little bit more texture in there, and vitamins and nutrients. You know, the spinach is fantastic for all of those vitamins, and great source of protein and fiber and iron, magnesium and potassium. It's a great source of potassium, and I think a lot of people forget about that, how important potassium and magnesium is. And again, don't be alarmed that your spinach isn't cooperating as well as it should. It's okay, because it will. So then I'm going to add a bunch of chopped or cut in half and quartered. I kind of like to make them a little bit smaller. About a cup of the grape or cherry tomatoes. And you can add more in there too, obviously. And I'll probably go back and add some more in there as well. And then I do about half of a red onion. And chopped red onion. So get all that in there too. And I usually don't even add all of the spinach initially, because it's going to naturally wilt on its own. So then you can go back and add more, and then and depending on if you want more of a crunchy type of spinach, arugula works really well in here too. I've done that. If you want more of like a peppery taste to your pasta, to this particular dish, arugula is great for that too. And so you can throw some garlic powder. I am obsessed with garlic, so if you don't feel like chopping it, putting fresh garlic in there, no problem. Just add a bunch of garlic powder, some more salt and pepper if you want to. You don't have to. I'm trying to cut back on salt too. And then add your dressing. Okay, so you are good to go. Give that a little stir as much as you can. And I generally, for the sake of space on my countertop for the video, I will put this like into 2 bowls and then mix it up that way, and then it's not as overwhelming and you're like, ugh. So that's that. And it doesn't look as pretty as you'd like right now, but trust me, let this set. Stir it frequently over the next few hours, the next day. Let this set overnight. Let everything marinate together. And you'll have an awesome chilled pasta salad that is full of all kinds of flavor, all kinds of texture, all kinds of vitamins and nutrients, protein, fiber, and it's really good, and it lasts a long time. And so you can make it for multiple lunches. You can make it for a dinner recipe if you want. I may actually do that instead. It just depends. And you can always go back and add more of the dressing on there too. So do whatever you want. But it seems like this isn't very like, wow, this is amazing. But it's such a it's something simple that you can throw a bunch of ingredients together to make a lot of quickly, and with awesome flavors that generally everybody really likes. So it's always a hit, and this is great for, you know, summer's here, and make for picnics when we can all get out again, or to different types of events and things like that. So this is a great one to bring. I also like to do, and you don't have to do this, but if you want to even add more texture, is I add some field roast sausage in here as well. And this is the vegan sausages. They're found all over the place too, locally. And it's just made out of potatoes and apples and spices and herbs. And it's so, so, so good. And so I will actually chop up, take the plastic casing off of this, chop this up, dice this up, throw that into your skillet, and then add that in there as well, and it gives a nice meaty texture, flavoring to it as well, and it's so, 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 so good. So I'm going to do that and throw that in there in a little bit too, and you were good to go. And I know pasta, it's like, oh, I don't want to eat that for lunch, or it gets a bad rap, or I'm trying to stay away from pasta. And I know, I get it. It doesn't always get the best reviews all the time, but there's a lot of misconceptions with that too. Carbs, complex carbs, are actually good for us and what our body needs. It's our fuel, essentially. Our body needs them to fuel off of. Those are the whole grains, the nuts, the seeds, vegetables, things like that are full of those complex carbohydrates, and that is what our body is craving for energy and things like that. So when we get into trouble, oftentimes when it comes to carbs and being fattening and other kinds of issues, is because they're usually paired with an animal-based product. You know, the cheeses, the butters, the meats, all of the things that are full of saturated fat and high in cholesterol. That's usually paired with carbs, and so that's why a lot of times they don't work, and they do cause problems. So don't discount them altogether. There's a lot of great info about carbs on PCRM.org, and that's Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine.org, and that is everything that is science and medicine and nutrition, all backed by medical doctors that can explain it and break it down and go over all kinds of stuff for you. So definitely check that out. And so that is that for today. Just 2 quick dishes, and you know, we'll be doing some more. And if you have any ideas, or you want to have question and answer, or talk about other things, just give me a shout on the Southern Maryland Vegan Restaurant Week page on Facebook and Instagram, and I really appreciate it. So you guys be well, be kind to each other and to the animals, and be well. Okay, thank you.